11. Micro-budget horrors. Some horror films prove you don't need a Hollywood bankroll to wreck someone's sleep. These movies were made with maxed out credit cards, borrowed cameras, and more guts than cash, yet they terrified millions and changed the genre. We're counting down 11 micro-budget nightmares that turned spare change into pure dread. So grab your DIY spirit, dim the lights, and remember, terror is the one thing you can't underfund. Number 11, Paranormal Activity from 2007. Director Oren Peli, a former video game programmer with zero filmmaking experience, spent a full year transforming his modest San Diego tract home into a haunted house set. Working nights after his day job, he soundproofed walls, installed hidden light dimmers, and rigged doors with simple pulleys so they could open on cue. Financing and equipment. Total budget about $15,000, most of it Peli's savings. Camera, a Sony HDR FX1 Pro Summer HD camcorder. Crew, basically Peli plus a sound recordist, never more than 3 people on set at once. Filming method. Principal photography lasted 7 consecutive nights. Actors Katie Featherston and Micah Sloat were paid $500 each upfront plus a small back-end percentage that later ballooned. No traditional script. Each night, Peli left index cards with emotional prompts like, "Tonight you sense the presence getting stronger. React naturally." All special effects were practical. Baby powder on the floor for footprints, fishing line to move doors. The Spielberg legend. After the 2007 Screamfest premiere, a DVD screener reached Steven Spielberg. He reportedly paused the film halfway, convinced his own house was haunted, and finished it in daylight. Spielberg recommended a new ending filmed for under $5,000 and urged Paramount to buy the rights. Marketing and release. Paramount launched the now famous Demand It campaign where fans clicked online to bring the film to their city, turning scarcity into national hype. The movie expanded from a handful of midnight screenings to more than 2,000 theaters within a month. Legacy, global box office, $193 million, a profit ratio still taught in film school economics classes. Spawned 6 sequels and re-energized the found footage genre for the next decade. Proved that a single locked-off camera can be scarier than any CGI phantom. Number 10, The Blair Witch Project, 1999. Before anyone coined the term viral marketing, Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez built an internet myth that fooled a generation. With only $60,000 raised from small investors, they set out to convince the world that 3 student filmmakers had disappeared in Burgettsville, Maryland. Guerrilla production. Shot in 8 grueling days using high-8 video and 16mm film, cast members Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, and Joshua Leonard were handed daily GPS coordinates instead of scripts. Each morning, they found new instructions in hidden film canisters, sometimes just a single sentence. To keep them unsettled, the crew reduced their rations and prowled the woods at night, playing unsettling noises through portable speakers. None of the actors knew when or how the story would end. Marketing masterstroke. Months before release, the filmmakers launched a primitive 1998 website packed with fabricated police reports, missing person flyers, and evidence photos. At Sundance 1999, Artisan Entertainment bought the film for $1.1 million, then doubled down on the true story angle with a fake TV documentary, Curse of the Blair Witch, which aired on the Sci-Fi Channel and drew millions. Box office impact? Final production cost after post-work, roughly $60K. Worldwide gross, about $248 million, setting a record for return on investment until Paranormal Activity surpassed it a decade later. Critical legacy? lauded for resurrecting the found footage technique pioneered by Cannibal Holocaust. Inspired films from Cloverfield to Wreck and even modern ARG, alternate reality game, marketing campaign. So dumb, it's perfect. Our 7. Link on screen. Number 9, Creep 2014. Before Netflix originals were a thing, director Patrick Brice and actor-producer Mark Duplass decided to make a two-man thriller that felt like a Craigslist meetup gone to hell. Their budget? Under $100,000, financed through the Duplass brothers' small production fund and a few private backers. Production deep dive. Schedule and location. Shot over 5 non-consecutive days in and around a cabin near Lake Arrowhead, California. The entire crew fit into one SUV. Script or lack of one. They worked from a 10-page outline, not a screenplay. Each morning, Brice and Duplass outlined the day's emotional beats, then improvised dialogue in real time. Multi-hat filmmaking. Brice served as director, cinematographer, and later co-editor. Audio was captured with a single boom mic that Duplass often held himself between takes. Iconic Peachfuzz scene. The unsettling dance with the wolf mask wasn't planned. Duplass found the mask in a box of old props, slipped it on, and started dancing while Brice kept the camera rolling. Release and reception. Premiered at South by Southwest 2014, quickly selling to Netflix for global streaming, an early sign that micro-budget horror could thrive on platforms rather than theaters. Critics highlighted its intimate menace. Duplass's overly friendly sociopath became an instant cult villain. Sparked a sequel, Creep 2 2017, and talk of a third installment still occasionally teased by Duplass. Legacy. Proof that found footage can be unnervingly personal and continues to be a favorite recommendation for anyone seeking a minimalist scare that feels disturbingly plausible. Number 8, Pi, 1998. Before Requiem for a Dream or Black Swan, Darren Aronofsky was a 29-year-old NYU grad raising money by selling $100 shares to friends and relatives. 30 investors bought in, giving him a shoestring $60,000 budget to reshoot his paranoid number theory nightmare. Production deep dive. Format and equipment. Filmed on high contrast 16mm with an Arriflex SR camera to create the gritty, almost newsreel look and to hide budget limitations. Locations. Entirely guerrilla. New York rooftops, subways, and apartments filmed without permits. The crew often grabbed shots and disappeared before transit police arrived. Crew size? Fewer than 10 people, many wearing multiple hats. Aronofsky's college roommate Sean Goulet starred as Max and also helped wrangle locations. Score and sound. Clint Mansell composed the pulsing electronic soundtrack on a tiny home setup, creating the signature sound that launched his career. Festival and box office. Premiered at Sundance 1998, winning the directing award for Aronofsky and selling to Artisan Entertainment for $1 million. Grossed $3.2 million domestically, pocket change for studios, but an enormous return for its backers, all of whom reportedly received more than 700% profit on their $100 investments. Legacy became a touchstone for DIY filmmakers and math-themed thrillers alike. Its stark visuals and throbbing score influenced everything from music videos to the aesthetics of Mr. Robot. Cemented Aronofsky as a visionary capable of turning pure obsession into high art. Okay, so you've seen how these directors turned nothing into something truly terrifying. If you had just a few $1,000s and a camera, which of these filmmaking approaches would you use to make your own horror movie? Would you rely on mind-bending ambiguity like resolution, or would you use a single camera and everyday paranoia like Paranormal Activity? Number 7, Eraserhead, 1977. Before David Lynch became synonymous with surreal television, he spent 5 patient years bringing this nightmarish debut to life on a piecemeal budget of roughly $10,000 to $20,000. Production deep dive. Origin story. Conceived while Lynch was a student at the American Film Institute in Los Angeles, initial AFI grant money covered only a few months, forcing Lynch to pause and work odd jobs, paper routes, landscaping, while continuing to shoot scenes whenever he scraped together cash. Location and set design. Filmed almost entirely in a series of abandoned stables on the AFI campus that Lynch and crew slowly transformed into an otherworldly factory landscape. DIY ingenuity. Lynch and production designer Jack Fisk scavenged scrap metal, old radiators, and industrial junk from local yards, welding and painting by hand to create the film's oppressive textures. Soundscape. The film's famously unsettling audio, a constant hiss of industrial machinery, was built by Lynch himself using reel-to-reel tape loops and field recordings of malfunctioning air conditioners. The baby mystery. The grotesque mutant baby remains a filmmaking legend. Lynch has never revealed what it was made of. Rumors range from a skinned rabbit to an animatronic creation. Cast and crew signed confidentiality agreements, adding to the mystique. Release and legacy. Initially rejected by mainstream distributors, Eraserhead found its audience on the midnight movie circuit, running for years at New York's Waverly Theater. Influenced filmmakers from Stanley Kubrick, who screened it for the cast of The Shining, to modern auteurs like Guillermo del Toro. Its endurance proved that a film could be haunting, personal, and completely outside the studio system and still carve a permanent place in cinema history. Number 6, Coherence. 2013. James Ward Burkett crafted this science fiction mind twister for about $50,000, shooting in his own Santa Monica living room over 5 intense nights. Production deep dive. Improvised storytelling. There was no formal script. Instead, Burkett wrote a detailed backstory and nightly character envelopes with secret objectives. Actors discovered plot twists, parallel universes, shifting timelines only as scenes unfolded. Crew and gear. A skeleton team of friends managed lighting and sound while Burkett personally operated the camera, often handheld to heighten intimacy. Lighting. Practical household lamps and candles provided most illumination, giving the film its naturalistic yet eerie glow and saving thousands in equipment rentals. Festival run and critical acclaim. Premiered at Fantastic Fest 2013, where word of mouth labeled it a micro-budget primer with heart. Earned nominations at the Independent Spirit Awards and quickly became a streaming hit, recommended by critics as a perfect hidden gem for fans of puzzle box storytelling. Legacy. Cited by filmmakers as proof that high-concept sci-fi can flourish with virtually no money if the core idea is strong. Continues to gain new viewers through streaming, often landing on Best Films You Missed lists every year since release. Need something to watch? Hit likehorror.com. Number 5, They Look Like People, 2015. Harry Blackshear's debut feature embodies the true spirit of micro-budget horror. Armed with a savings account, a few loyal collaborators, and a borrowed camera, he delivered a meditation on paranoia and friendship for under $10,000. Production deep dive. Genesis. Blackshear, frustrated with years of stalled projects, challenged himself to create a film with resources he already had: close friends, access to New York apartments, and sheer determination. Crew size. Never more than 5 people on set, often just Blackshear, a sound recordist, and the 2 leads. Multi-hyphenate filmmaking. Blackshear wrote, directed, shot, edited, and designed the sound himself. He used a Canon 5D Mark II DSLR with vintage prime lenses to keep the aesthetic intimate and warm despite the creeping dread. Actor collaboration. Leads McLeod Andrews and Evan Dumichel rehearsed for weeks, refining their friendship dynamic until it felt lived in. Many key conversations were loosely scripted to allow genuine overlapping dialogue. Locations: friends' apartments, rooftops, and alleyways doubled as sets. They relied almost entirely on practical lighting and New York's ambient sound. Festival journey and reception. Premiered at Slamdance 2015, where it won the Grand Jury Prize for Best Narrative Feature. Critics praised its empathetic treatment of mental illness while still delivering moments of shocking tension. Picked up by Gravita's Ventures for streaming and DVD, slowly building a reputation as a quietly devastating genre piece. Legacy. Frequently cited by indie filmmakers as proof that deep character work and atmosphere can outshine elaborate scares. Remains a go-to recommendation for audiences seeking horror that's as emotional as it is unsettling. Number 4, The Battery, 2012. Jeremy Gardner's The Battery shows how character-driven storytelling can thrive in zombie subgenre for a mere $6,000 a budget. Many productions spend on a single prop weapon. Production deep dive. Financing. Gardner pulled personal savings and small contributions from friends. Crew and equipment. A skeletal team of 5 using a Canon 5D DSLR and natural daylight for nearly every shot. Locations. Filmed across rural Connecticut over 15 days, often without permits. Local residents played zombies for free, compensated only with pizza and beer. Creative efficiency. Gardner wore multiple hats: writer, director, lead actor, and editor, while producer Christian Stella doubled as cinematographer and even cooked meals for the cast and crew. Improvised atmosphere. With no money for set design, the team leaned on abandoned houses, overgrown fields, and foggy mornings to create a believable post-apocalyptic landscape. Festival and release. Premiered at the Telluride Horror Show, followed by screenings at dozens of international festivals. Garnered rave reviews for its naturalistic dialogue and sharp focus on friendship rather than gore. Eventually distributed by Scream Factory, gaining a dedicated cult following on home video and streaming. Legacy. Often hailed as one of the best modern zombie films despite its tiny budget, demonstrates that authentic human relationships can be more gripping than waves of undead extras. Number 3, Host, 2020. Shot at the height of the COVID-19 lockdown, Host became the quintessential pandemic horror. Director Rob Savage and his small British crew completed the film in just 12 weeks from idea to release, spending about $35,000. Production deep dive. Concept origin. Savage pranked friends on a Zoom call by pretending to be attacked in his attic, posted the clip online, and it went viral. Producer friends at Shudder immediately asked if he could expand the idea into a feature. Remote filmmaking. Because of lockdown restrictions, the actors became their own camera operators, lighting techs, and stunt coordinators. Savage held daily rehearsals via Zoom to choreograph scares and teach them how to rig practical effects. DIY effects. Kitchen cupboards were wired to slam shut with fishing line. One actor's chair was pulled across the room using a bungee cord anchored to a radiator. Each performer learned basic pyrotechnics for candle flares and spark effects over video calls. Release and impact. Premiered on Shudder in July 2020, only a few months after conception. Instantly went viral, hailed as the scariest film of lockdown, and earned a 99% Rotten Tomatoes score. Lauded for capturing the collective anxiety of quarantine and for proving that inventiveness beats budget when audiences crave relevance. Legacy. Inspired a wave of screen-based horror films, Dashcam, Missing, and confirms that the desktop thriller format could feel fresh again. Continues to be a time capsule of 2020, blending supernatural terror with real-world isolation. Number 2, Resolution, 2012. Before Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead directed Marvel TV and big-budget genre films, they created this haunting debut for about $20,000, stretching every dollar with community favors and boundless creativity. Production deep dive. Locations and schedule. Shot over 3 weeks in San Diego County, primarily inside an abandoned cabin that the filmmakers renovated just enough for safety. Crew. A close-knit group of fewer than 10 people, many rotating tasks, camera, lighting, and even set construction. Storytelling approach. The pair avoided expensive effects by leaning into cosmic ambiguity. Ominous sounds, sudden cuts, and narrative loops suggested a greater force without ever showing it. Festival and critical run. Premiered at Tribeca Film Festival 2012, immediately winning attention for its blend of grounded friendship, drama, and Lovecraftian mystery. Critics from Variety and The Hollywood Reporter praised it as a rare indie that balanced emotional depth with creeping dread. Legacy. Established Benson and Moorhead as masters of cosmic horror on a budget, paving the way for Spring, The Endless, and eventually projects for Marvel and Netflix. Fans still dissect its ambiguous ending, which teases larger mythologies later explored in the duo's shared universe films. Number 1, Primer, 2004. Shane Carruth's debut is legendary for its audacity. A brain-twisting time loop thriller produced for just $7,000. Production deep dive. Financing. Carruth, a former software engineer, funded it with personal savings. Shooting format. Filmed on Super 16mm in Dallas over 5 weeks, using abandoned industrial parks and friends' homes to create a believable corporate suburb backdrop. One-man army. Carruth wrote, directed, produced, edited, scored the music, and played the lead role. Complex script. The story's interlocking timelines required a spreadsheet of color-coded flowcharts to keep continuity. Cast members sometimes learned crucial plot details only moments before shooting to maintain authentic confusion. Festival triumph. Premiered at Sundance 2004, where it won the Grand Jury Prize and the Alfred P. Sloan Feature Film Prize for Best Depiction of Science. Critics compared its ingenuity to early Hitchcock and Kubrick and praising its refusal to dumb down the science. Lasting influence. Continues to inspire aspiring filmmakers as proof that ambition can eclipse budget. Frequently cited in film schools and engineering forums alike for its near-clinical depiction of time travel paradoxes. Sparked countless fan-made timeline diagrams and remains one of the most debated indie films of the 21st century. From a 6,000 zombie road trip to a $7,000 time travel puzzle, these films prove that fear and creativity aren't about money. Which micro-budget would you show a skeptic first? Tell us below. If you love sleeper scares, cue our 11 disturbing horror movies that don't get enough credit next. Stay scary, see you next time.